Hey guys, welcome to a completely new video, a new format on the channel, a channel update. I had to create a new scenery for the purpose. I even included the Christmas tree in order to get more mileage out of the holiday season. As mentioned, going forward, I wanted to give more and give something back to you, dear viewers, that elect to, watch me. And I was thinking about, a way to do it, and I thought, how do we involve the community more than give you guys the ability to vote for the games that we are playing on this very channel? I created this channel to play some of those classics that I've missed along the way, to spread my wings and to get out of my gaming comfort zone, so to say. But so far I've been ruling the channel with like a firm authoritarian fist, just taking your comments into consideration but treating them like suggestions more so. Going forward, however, I want to organize a vote such as the one we are having today for every new playthrough arriving on the channel. Throughout the years, I should say, at this point, I've been, writing down your comments and suggestions regarding games, and I will continue to do so. And when a time like this comes, when a playthrough comes to an end, just like our Bioshock playthrough came to an end, I will, gather those suggestions, pick a genre in a way, and then I will include the most popular candidates from the comments. Take into consideration that this is just like the very first test voting, and I chose the RPG genre for this very first vote, even though we have an RPG series running on the channel, in order to see whether people are at all into voting, and if they are, to have like this smooth transition between Mass Effect Legendary Edition and the very next playthrough that will be arriving on the channel. First of all, however, I have to address the elephant in the room. I didn't even know there was this elephant originally for a long time, but what happens if like a game is not working for me? And I have a rather beefy PC, I want to say, or maybe above average. Some time ago I upgraded the GPU to a 4070 Super in order to play all of those new releases rather safely for some time. However, we had the Elden Ring situation where no matter what I was doing, the game was not acting accordingly on my own machine, having stutters and all. But what's more important, my recording software was not vibing with it whatsoever, producing like choppy and like broken material. Yeah, I did the initial testing in that, let's say, the tutorial area, but I obviously didn't want to play ahead as it is a blind playthrough, and I get into the open world, and the frames are just so unstable. In such a minuscule case, because it happened with Elden Ring only so far on the channel, that I launched something and I was just not able to continue it. In such a case where the very first or like top voted game turns out to be cursed, I will just move to like the second most voted game, and then I will try on my own once again to fix the most voted game, and it will arrive on the channel after the second one is completed. I also want to say that I'm not giving on Elden Ring whatsoever. I was not lying when I said that this is the most excited I've been for a playthrough to arrive on the channel, because some of you might know already that I am a big From Software glazer. And off camera I spent around 20 fucking hours trying to fix the damn thing, but to no avail. my very next steps are just, wiping the OS altogether and updating the BIOS. But that's a little bit problematic timing-wise because on like the PC I'm recording, I'm also working professionally, so we'll see. Want to mention also that the voting will be open for around a week, something along the lines. I want to include the link in the very next Mass Effect episode that will be released, and from that point on, around a week, so everyone gets the opportunity to vote, right? I already had to change my plans slightly from the very last Mass Effect episode where I announced this whole thing. As apparently YouTube polls where we'll be holding this vote can only have 4 options instead of 5, so we are reducing the number of candidates to 4. Okay, at this point I think we discussed everything relevant. Here are the candidates, and let me give you like my limited knowledge that I have about them. Starting off, I think, with like the 2 most heavy hitters, the 2 titles that got the most mentions in the comments. Okay, so option 1, it's Baldur's Gate 3. That's right. Actually, I don't know much about Baldur's Gate 3 because I didn't play the original 1 and 2 that were released back in the day. I heard people describe this game as like the spiritual successor to Dragon Age Origins, similarly to how people back in the day mentioned that Dragon Age Origins is like the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I don't necessarily know what that means, but mention Dragon Age Origins and you have me hooked. What I know is that the combat in that game is turn-based, and that's pretty exciting because I've never played like a turn-based RPG. I know it's a shocker, but I never was into or never tried JRPGs. I believe they tend to be turn-based, so that's exciting. And apparently you can have like sex with this game, in this game with like a bear. So that piece of marketing even got to me. So the second contestant is Cyberpunk 2077 and its expansion pack, I guess, Wings of Liberty. For this one, I guess I know a tiny bit more. I absolutely adore the Witcher series, and it's from the same creators, CD Projekt Red. I heard Keanu Reeves is in the game, and that it was an absolute broken mess at launch, but now with like the release of like the expansion pack, it was improved, and now the game is much more acclaimed. Yes. And Cyberpunk as a setting is something that I have not experienced that much, or at all, one might argue. So yeah, that's the exciting element. For the third contestant, we have Fallout New Vegas. And regarding this one, I am kind of familiar with the setting. Sometimes before the creation of this channel, I got Fallout 3 for free on the Epic Game Store, and I played through the entirety of it, and I was whelmed. While I loved the usual good Bethesda shit that was in that game, that is exploration, lore, setting, art direction, atmosphere, the combat and the writing and like the characters were underwhelming to say the least. But Fallout New Vegas, that's Obsidian, right? Not Bethesda. And I heard writing and quests are a strong suit of Fallout New Vegas. So in my mind, if I combine those things with like all of the positives I mentioned prior, for Fallout 3 and let's say Skyrim, then I'm absolutely set to try the game out. And the very last contestant, the fourth one, is a little bit of a curveball, I believe, a Kingdom Come Deliverance. A title different from like the previously mentioned because I believe the game takes place in like the Middle Ages, so no supernatural or fantasy twists to the setting. Apparently the game is filled with like good writing, and it's not only an RPG but also a sandbox, so I would really be down to fuck around in it just a little bit. We've just finished Bioshock on the channel, another sandbox, albeit horror and FPS, but it just like, opened up my eyes to the possibilities of, awesome gameplay. So these are the candidates. I hope you guys see something there that you would be willing to watch on the channel, so please choose your favorite. Fret not, however, after we are done with Mass Effect 3, or rather Mass Effect Legendary Edition, another voting will be held on the channel, so more voting options will arise. And I believe this is all I have for you today. Thank you for your attention, and I guess I will see you in the very next Mass Effect video, or, at the start of this new mysterious blind playthrough arriving on the channel after the vote. So, see you around. Bye bye! I even included the Christmas tree instead. Ah! Bow! 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 Bow!